Jim's going to come and show us the VCU Mobile App. So we'll take a look at that, and then if we have any questions, we'll get into those.
The right one here. All right. Thank you all for coming. To get to VCU Mobile, you can go to www.vcu.edu/mobile. So if you haven't
Whoops. Let's get you up there.
Yeah, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. So you can go to the App Store to get it for your iPhone. How many of you who use BlackBerries have downloaded apps and have the BlackBerry app world on your thing? So you can just go to that and just do a search for VCU, and it will come up and you can download it. Now, the interesting thing we noticed about BlackBerries is once you download it, you have to reboot your BlackBerry. So that takes 2 minutes or so, and you're all set. But if you don't have either one, if you're on a Droid today, you have to go, you can use our mobile web. So you can go to m.vcu.edu. And those folks actually get some extra things and they get less things. They don't get some of the videos that are on YouTube, but you do get access to some library information because we're still trying to debug the module that came, because it was originally designed at Stanford, modified for Duke, and as they've added on all these clients, they realize, oh, there's different library systems out in higher education. And it didn't quite work. So, but I will show you where we are today with the library one, and we have a new one that we're waiting for release for production. So without further ado, I will switch my device here. Hopefully that's clear enough to read. But today there are 7 modules. One of them is a directory, which is pretty much what you would think. You can come in here, and if you said, oh, I remember that guy, but let me see if I can find him. You can do a search, and it comes up. Someone asked about photos. That's not going to happen. But it does give you our titles and various things. And if you wanted to email me, just click on a single email, and you can fire me a piece of email right from there. If you were using the iPhone, it would work the same way, except an arrow would now be presented right beside phone. You would click on it, and you could send me a text message or call me. So it integrates right into the phone capability. But since an iPad doesn't do phones, we're not there. So it takes advantage of the technology it's using. The events calendar, one of the questions that people might come up with, if you go to the events.vcu.edu, on the left-hand side, there is a category. I think we have like 14 or 15 categories. Well, that's what's parsed out here. And if you click like on all, it will show you all the events that are going on. If you click on one, it actually extracts it. So it's basically taking all the data that's in the university events calendar and presents it in a mobile format. You don't have to do anything. So if you put it in there, it comes up here. The one I think has the most interest by the students is the courses. And this was quite a feat to pull off. It turned out the whole VCU Mobile project was a data integrity project. Because if you go to Banner, you don't get your course description because it's kept in a separate database for a whole various set of reasons. And then you can't find like the current seat availability if you're a student trying to enroll in the class. It's all kind of a hodgepodge everywhere. So this whole thing took some time and we put it together. And so we're the very first Banner school to be able to do something like this. So what it does is it comes up with all the schools, and we'll pick on the school business, and it brings up all the various areas. So we'll go into accounting, and we'll pick on accounting 202, but there's all the various courses. And what it does, controlled by the folks in student affairs, is right now we're showing the fall 2010 semester. As soon as the spring 2011 semester will be ready, then you'll be able to come over here and select 2 different semesters. So if you pick on accounting 202, it gets the full course description, and you can expand it out or contract it. So if a student was looking at accounting 202, they can see the course description. They can see it's a lecture. At VCU, we care about the CRN number. Me being an undergraduate at Penn State, we only cared about section numbers, so I had to figure that out. It holds 120 seats. The 22 seats available, what that is that's within the last 10 minutes, it goes out and does a query of the number of seats within the last 22 minutes. So during registration, you can watch that thing count down if you were so inclined. Tells you it's worth 3 credits, gives you the time when it's there. Again, if you click on the faculty member who's teaching it, it's just like we did with a people search, and it would do the same thing. So they could contact the faculty member and ask them questions. And my favorite piece is that it's in Temple Building, and if there's 4 or 5 sections, and you have a 9 to 10:30 class, and this starts at 11 o'clock, you may want to get a building that's closer. And if you're like a freshman and not familiar, you can click on this, and it'll immediately bring up the campus maps, show you where the Temple Building is. If you click on it, it tells you the address, a full description of the Temple Building, give you a photo of the temple, so as you're walking by it, if our big VCU signs on every building isn't enough. And then you say, oh, well, there's all the departments that are actually listed inside the Temple Building. And this is, the long-term plan is that this will mirror exactly what we're doing with the university maps. So this is a complete database system, and working with Creative Services, they maintain all the content. That's why it works as well with the content, is that if you see a department on the VCU maps on your web browser, it will be reflected here. And then if you say you're interested in physics, you click on it, and it immediately takes you right to the physics website. So we're trying to integrate everything as we possibly can. And you can add it to bookmarks, or if you want to go back in the maps. Now, my biggest complaint about this, there is no home button. So you have to back. Sorry. The maps, we've kind of looked at them, that it brings it up. And this is one of our newest areas. The university maps, again, data integrity. Everyone thought in terms of paper, 8.5 by 11. So the 2 university campus maps were merged into 8.5 by 11, and they weren't GPS correct. So to make the GPS coordinates work, we kind of have adjusted GPS coordinates now. Creative Services has done a lot of work. We're coming out with a single university map that's GPS correct. So we're going to be testing that as soon as they make it available. And so you won't have to come and pick a campus. And that gives us a lot of future. And if you're saying, oh, I want to know where Cabell Library is, if you start typing, it brings it up and takes you right to Cabell Library. And so it's very nice for picking out buildings. All right, videos. And this is where you can have input. If your school has a video feed, this is all based on YouTube. And one thing I just found out, which is going to make people happy and unhappy, the School of Education we just added, but VCU Libraries was added, and they put it as VCU Library, so I will correct that. So all librarians, I know you like to be... that's what I said, yes, we will correct that. We told them VCU Libraries, they put in VCU Library. So, but if you click on it, and this is the feed, they can add any feed they want now, a video feed in, and it pops you right into YouTube, and it'll load it and watch it. And so athletics are in there and all various things. So I don't know if you have sound. There you go. You're famous. The news. Right now, we're getting feeds. And so if you have a news feed, you could send that to us. But these are coming off the news services for the most part. But right now, it's staying inside the app right now. But when you actually go to the story, it takes you to a web browser. And that doesn't present well. It's not too bad on a bigger iPad, but on an iPhone, it gets really bad. And one of their newest releases is to keep the story actually inside the app so it'll be larger and easier to view. So that's coming out. And images, VCU, again, you got to give credit to Creative Services. We have some of the best images of anybody. We really do. And these are all the categories. So if you go to the VCU homepage, if you go to pictures.vcu.edu, they have a huge collection that keeps growing. Some put in by y'all, but some put in by their great photographers. And if you click on Richmond, it gives you a complete view of them. If you're interested in that one, it brings it up. And now the one thing I've asked them is, can we not have the caption come up till afterwards? But and then you can just flick through them. You can zoom in. So if you really want to see those pumpkins, I have purchased pumpkins from there before. So it's that time of year. So you can do all kinds of things. Then if you want to read the caption, I guess you got to get back out and read the caption on the story. So it's really neat. And that's what you see today. But since you came out in the rain, y'all get to see what's coming tomorrow. This is the newest version. And one of my favorites is the emergency. And again, you're only going to see it so much here. If you click on the emergency, what it does is it brings up the fire, police, and all this. And if you're on your iPhone or any phone or the BlackBerry with a phone, if you would click on this, it would bring up the number, and you could just do one more click and it would immediately call the police. So if you're in an emergency, you just got to go click, 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 and you're calling it without having to remember the number or any kind of panic. Or if you need to get a ride from somewhere and use the escort service. Now this is one that we've been working with the VCU Library on. VCU Libraries, they're going to get me to call you singular. You're going to start throwing things. It does work. And my favorite term to search for, because I love sports, is ball. And this is handy if you ever go into the stacks. I'm so used to it calling stacks. I don't know what you all call it here. And you're looking for a book and you forgot the number because you say, oh, I can remember that 27,000 digit number. You can actually come and do a search while you're in the stacks. Click on that and say, oh, there's the details of the stuff. Click on view availability. And it tells you that it is or isn't. And it does all kinds of fun things. And Jimmy Gafferty in the library has been heading up their side. He's going to look like me pretty soon. He's going to lose all his hair because for some reason it seems relatively straightforward. We've given them everything they need, but the synapses aren't connecting. So we're working on it. So hopefully we can release that one because I think that's a great one. Other ones that we're trying to release is athletics. And they just changed websites. If you've noticed VCU Athletics, they now use something called Presto Sports. And all we're trying to do is get an XML feed of their scores, their news, and their schedule. So you'll be able to come here in your favorite sport, like if you're interested in VCU basketball, you could actually see the score from last night, news about the basketball team, and it'll be every sport that we have. And so that's what we're working on for that one. And then the other big one is when we have the single map, we've been starting discussion with business services about using GPS devices inside the escort service as well as the campus shuttle. And other schools have this ability where you actually can see where the shuttle bus is. So if you got to run out in front of the library to catch the bus to the other campus, you'll be able to see it. Whatever the newest one is, what is it, Route 829? What's the newest bus?
Route 83.
Route 83. Well, that would be another great one to have, is going around campus as to where that's going to be. So that will be one of the things we'll really start to work at once we get the single campus map. But it was impossible with two campus maps to have the bus leave one map and come onto the other. So, and also the coordinates weren't correct. You see, the bus is running right into Sneed Hall, since we're picking on Sneed Hall today. But it wasn't. It was because the coordinates are off. So one of the things you'll notice on the BlackBerry, if you're on the BlackBerry and you see the technology building, for example, it will allow you to go from there right into Google Maps. Well, if you go into Google Maps and the GPS coordinate, you end up in our parking lot because we're off by that much. So you have to know that. But we didn't want to wait. Yeah, we've asked lots of questions. We'd love to be able to say, if you're an instructional faculty member, Blackboard's very important. We'd love to have mobile learn as a potential connection point here. But if I don't care about the images, wouldn't it be nice to move that to the end? Somebody else who loves the images puts it up to the front. Wouldn't it be nice if you could shuffle around? Because when you go into any other thing, you can hold it down and you can move things around or even get rid of ones. And we'd like to be able to have some that don't go away. Probably the emergency one would be one we didn't kick away. But the other ones you should be able to move, shuffle around and you can get rid of. So I think
That's good.
I think that's it.